Many times as the years progressed, strange things have been discovered in China during various excavation. From bones that don't belong any known animal, not even dinosaurs, to thousand-year-old bodies with the skin tissue still flesh. One of the researchers is Professor Yang Chelin, who in 1978 introduces post 749 in the Kunlun Mountains, and special team committed to explicitly finding out the secret behind all the discoveries. It is presently 1979. And Hu Bai-yi is one of the many soldiers really buckling down in the excavations. The job is depleting and he frequently tumbles from sheer exhaustion. However, the professor's daughter Yang Ping is generally there to help him and assist him with recovering his strength. When Hu Bai-yi met her, interestingly, he felt like she had known her for quite a while. Both of them have a bond that makes his friend Kang Sun jealous. After the team recovers one more giant skull from an unknown beast, the cave starts shaking furthermore. Abruptly it detonates, destroying their entire camp. The soldiers, led by Officer Han Jiuyang, prepare their weapons to retaliate, yet the only ones to emerge from the cave are Professor Yang and a few laborers. This incident is definitely not a total misfortune nonetheless. A way has opened inside the mountain, so they'll send a unique team to go with Professor Yang to check. Yang Pin quickly volunteers to help her father, and that makes Hu Bai-yi volunteer also, which thusly makes Kang Sun come along as well. The team enters the cave and follows the found way until they come across a huge chasm, which they continue to climb down while seeing a butterfly-like creature zooming around them. They in the end come to a cold stage with one more chasm in the center, so they climb down this one also until they find a neglected cave filled to the edge with weird fossils. After meandering around for some time, they find a way that emerges at a direct opposite mountain from the one they entered. There, Professor Yang lets Hu Bai-yi know that legends say some place in this area is the gate of an ancient kingdom that belongs to Pet Mystery Government. Their talk is out of nowhere hindered when different soldiers let them know of a vital find, a humongous paw print on the snow, while Han and the remainder of the team wrap up fixing the door at the mountain entrance. Professor Yang and his men start following the path of paw prints to track down the beast that left them, which is close by. The creatures they see as first, however, are the little flying folks from the cave, yet presently they check at them more intently. They notice they aren't butterfly-like, they're strange-looking bats. Nothing happens when they land on a sleeve. However, one of the soldiers gets one with his exposed hand and it ends up being a slip-up. He unexpectedly begins burns with a blue fire at a disturbing velocity until there is nothing remains except for his bones. Before they're encircled by these bats and the soldiers start shooting to scare them away, yet they lose a couple of men to the fire. Every one of the shots to scare the beast and make it disappear, yet its unexpected weighty turning causes a torrential slide. The party begins running down the mountain as the snow swallows a considerable lot of the soldiers, but there comes where they can't continue onward. There's a chasm before them. They have no other decision except to bounce. However, prior to doing as such, Professor Yang ties Hu Bai-yi, what's more, his daughter together. The pair falls and their rope stalls out on a piece of ice, and subsequent to moving from side to the side multiple times, the grinding makes the rope break and both of them fall. Indeed, even months after while dozing on a train, Hu Bai-yi doesn't have the foggiest idea how he survives that fall, particularly subsequent to losing more men that wind up dead by hitting their heads or getting wounded by the ice. When he rises at the lower part of the pit, there are just 4 party individuals left: Hu Bai-yi, Professor Yang, Yang Ping, and Kang Sun. Subsequent to recovering as many fallen supplies as could reasonably be expected, the now tiny team illuminates a few lights and proceeds with their investigation. They run over a tremendous cave with a tall tower inside encompassed by building ruins that Professor Yang calls the sacrosanct castle of Kunlun. The tower is said to have 9 levels where demon creatures have been sealed, and it's what Professor Yang has been searching for this time. He gets kneeling down in an indication of love, then lights a candle holding up at some sort of special area, which makes a freaky, tall fire that makes a lot of bats appear and surround the tower with a red sparkle. Professor Yang accepts Hu Bai-yi and his daughter can open the tower door, so he sends them. What's more, when they stroll close by, the professor's hypothesis shows to be valid. The door opens and begins sparkling as a light shows up at the top of the tower, bringing a lot of spirits that occupies the room, but all of suddenly disappears when Kang Sun puts out the candle. Disliking the thought of opening the gates of devil, the cave is starting to fall, so the team gets moving before they are reached by the rocks or the bats, who are presently pursuing them. Kang Sun sacrifices himself and stays behind to act as bait, winding up dead by the bats' blue fire and taking out a lot of them when his body explodes. There's as yet a lot of bats free, however, and they pursue the remaining threesome, who basically have put some distance between them. They find an exit, yet they can't go a lot further. It takes them to a high edge behind a waterfall. The bats catch up and, as Hu Bai-yi attempts to fend them off with a torch, they figure out how to bite him and light a fire on his shoulder. Yang Ping drives him over the edge, so he falls into the water to put the fire off, and what's more, her father immediately followed. Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping regard each as other submerged, however, are immediately moved, separated by another huge dinosaur-like creature that catches Yang Ping in its mouth and removes her. Crushed, Hu Baiyi swims out of and advances back to base under frosty temperatures. The burn on his shoulder is taken care of while Officer Han lets him know they've found every one of the party's bodies aside from Yang Ping's and the professor's. Hu Baiyi is the only survivor. He chooses to stop this life and get back, yet on the train ride, he continues to imagining Kang's son is there with him and disheartening himself when the deception disappears. Hu Baiyi gets out at a train station close to the countryside and is gotten by his new manager Mr. Wang, ignorant that Officer Han and researcher Chen Dong are searching for him. It is 1982 now, and Hu Baiyi starts working at Mr. Wang's library, which makes for a very quiet life. When they go to eat together, Mr. Wang takes him to a local cafe where Hu Baiyi is stunned to reunite with cherished, lifelong friend Wang Kaixuan, who works there as an entertainer. Hu Baiyi suspects Mr. Wang has taken him there intentionally. While working at the library, Hu Baiyi finds a book of Professor Yang's research that even incorporates a representation of the Demon Tower, making realize opening it has forever been the professor's objective, and he likewise has always realized Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping could make it happen, which is the reason he attempted to protect them together. Meantime, at post 749, the travelers track down a coffin with a living woman inside that looks very much like Yang Ping, however calls herself Shirley. She appears to have a few mysterious powers that she have zero control over, however no memory of Yang Ping, so until further notice, they'll keep her locked and under consistent watch while they offer her treatment. Back to Hu Baiyi, he continues to get Professor Yang's books at the library with explicit pages marked for him. With Wang Kaixuan's help, he becomes fixated on these legends and goes through months studying them, assisting him with figuring out the real story behind them. There used to be a humanoid race from the demon's world, whose ancestors came from Saturn. They're the replacement of both demon and man, and the tower is their heritage. There should be guard watching the tower. However, quite a while back, this race vanished from Earth since humans at last broke out from demons' control. There are a few inquiries he can't find answers to. Nonetheless, similar to why he and Yang Ping could open the tower, why the professor needed to open it in any case, and who continues to send him all this number of books. After 3 years, in 1985, Officer Han is stunned to gain proficiency with his team has tracked down Professor Yang is alive in the mountains, hiding inside a cave. Meantime in West China, Oil City ends up under the attack of the secret giant beast. They destroy everything on their way, abandoning only demolishes. Professor Yang lets Han know that this should be the outcome of having opened the tower, so he goes to the area to investigate. This incident appears to have awoken Hu Baiyi's shoulder scar, what starts irritating him frequently, and his visit to the doctor makes him appear on the system, which parts with his area to Han. One evening, the shoulder pain gets so strong for unexpectedly it gets a fire going on Hu Baiyi's back, and he starts to show powers of his own, making each household item in the library float. Mr. Wang appears, regarding this as though it was completely normal, and explains that since the bat attack, Hu Baiyi's blood has been debased by a demonic power that presently gives his powers yet could drag him to hell. Hu Baiyi doesn't have the foggiest idea how Mr. Wang knows this, so he utilizes his own powers to change the library into an old tomb chamber and uncover he's the guard of Prince Yi of Su Lin Nation. There are guard spirits here excessively like there had come back at the tower, including Kang's sons. Mr. Wang explained that Prince Yi was Hu Baiyi's predecessor and he had been the one to lead humankind against the technologically advanced demon race that had assumed control over Earth. Prince Yi utilized his own body to seal the tower, and most demon left the planet, despite a couple of them stowed away and took human form. In any event, going similarly as marrying humans themselves, they need Hu Baiyi since he is a relative. He's the one in particular that can open the tower. Furthermore, free the demon once more. At post 749, Officer Han is enraged to discover that his team has lost Professor Yang. However, some unexpected news improves his state of mind. Shirley has awakened and claims she has her memories back, so she needs to go searching for her father along with Hu Baiyi. Han goes to the library to recruit him, yet Hu Baiyi will not get back in action since seeing such a lot of death during the last mission. He rapidly changes mind, but when he finds out about Shirley since he misses Yang Ping appallingly, Mr. Wang believes it's a poorly ideal for him to go when demons need to catch him to return the tower. Yet Hu Baiyi needs to comprehend how Yang Ping has reawakened, and presently the beast spirits are going after the prince's tomb as well, so something should be finished about it at the source. Hu Baiyi leaves the library with Wang Kaixuan, who wishes to help. They travel to northern China where they meet the team that will be searching for the Professor Chen Dong, a woman called Cao Weiwei, a lot of soldiers, and obviously, Shirley. Hu Baiyi can't quit crying when he sees her once more, yet while she recalls his name, she acts rather icily towards him and demands to be called Shirley rather than Yang Ping. The team goes through the desert by utilizing camels. After a couple of days of harmony, out of nowhere wind up in a dust storm, so they ride away as quick as possible to abandon it. However, there's a little detail they don't see. The main goal behind why the dust storm doesn't follow them any longer is that they cross an invulnerable power shield that keeps the storm away as they enter the remnants of Oil City. When they get off in a safe area, they understand they really lost a couple of men during their escape, including Wang Kaixuan. This subsequent team is still in the center of the desert without their camels, so they're attempting to reach the well site they've found somewhere far off when abruptly, they're attacked by one of these demon creatures. They split as they take off, and the demon kills one of the soldiers as the remainder of the team comes to the well site, just to track down a second demon there. This demon kills every one of the men with the exception of Wang Kaixuan and a friend, who find a bike and advance into Oil City to rejoin with the remainder of the team, who has been investigating around and tracking down only demolishes and bodies. Finding out about the demons, Hu Baiyi needs to leave to stay away from another slaughter like it happened last time in the mountains. Yet Chen Dong and Shirley need to remain and complete their mission. There isn't a lot of opportunity to discuss this. However, the demon track them down and the team should prepare to battle. They arm themselves and shoot the first beast, thinking they've figured out how to kill it. Then they pursue the subsequent one. When they pivot, the first is no more. While the team battles the beasts, Shirley takes off to enter a neglected school, and Hu Baiyi follows her there. He finds a lot of bodies hanging from the roof and a hole in the ground which he enters to find an underground passage that takes him to the prince's tomb. There's a demon there as well, which pushes Hu Baiyi and harms him. Yet before it can go any farther, Shirley appears and subdues it, making it disappear. Then she utilizes her powers to cause Hu Baiyi's oblivious body to suspend into the coffin, which she closes prior to leaving. Back in the area, more demon have shown up, so the team hide in the most noteworthy floors of buildings to shoot silver bullets and rocket launchers from a far distance. They figure out how to hit a couple, yet most demons evade them and climb the buildings to pursue them. Wei Wei figures out how to abstain from being found by pretending as a life-sized mannequin. Then she rushes to hide inside a bus with Wang Kaixuan while they make an honest effort to survive the steady hit the demon that has been pursuing her and continues to toss at the vehicle. Hu Baiyi awakens inside the coffin and is frantic to get out, yet he sees something magic is occurring. His injuries are closing and healing at a mind-boggling speed. Mr. Wang's soul shows up before him, letting him know the coffin will assist the prince lives in the future. Then Hu Baiyi winds up falling through darkness and appear before the tower. There, he can at last realize what has befallen to Yang Ping, the beast that caught her, carried her to the cave and dropped her on the fire, which burned her body and made it adept for the demon queen to dominate. Presently Shirley is in charge of the demon and is releasing them around. After the beast is gone, Hu Baiyi approaches the tower to talk with the queen's soul, learning that Yang Ping was the other individual that could open the door since she's her relative. She won't surrender her body, and calls attention to that killing her would kill Yang Ping too. Hu Baiyi swears he'll find a way, and finding this amaze, the queen sends him back to town. Finding the demon going after the bus, Hu Baiyi rapidly shoots it to free his friends, yet he can't make any significant difference with Chen Dong, who is hanging on the edge of a rooftop. The demons continue to come after him, yet Shirley needs him to open the tower door, so she hops with all due respect, tossing a vehicle at the beast to make them disappear. The ones going after their friends are still near and prepared to strike. Chen Dong is even setting his firearm against his temple to choose his own death as opposed to giving his life to a demon, but right now, Hu Baiyi checks into Shirley's eyes and realizes he won't ever get Yang Ping back, so he shoots her multiple times, making every one of the demon crumble in the tower to disintegrate. Conceding Hu Baiyi is the only one with the power to kill her, Shirley kisses him previously. Falling oblivious and changing once again into Yang Ping, Hu Baiyi cries over her death. Yet Yang Ping abruptly talks and communicates how happy she is to see him once again. So Hu Baiyi gets her body and takes it to the prince's coffin. Hope to mend her, he sits down with her inside, and as he contacts her temple with his, he gets a dream of her memories. Yang Ping had power since she was a young child, including the capacity to bring creatures back to life, yet her mom restricted them to utilize them. It was only after she saw her burn in blue fire that she comprehended her mom was a relative from the demon that took a human form and married ordinary individuals. To this end, Professor Yang had been exploring the tower for what seems like forever. He trusted one day he could save his daughter from the fate that looked for her. Back in the cave, the main justification for why they survived the fall was that Yang Ping had utilized her powers to restore them all. Before the association closes, Yang Ping lets Hu Baiyi know that she adores him and requests not to abandon attempting to track down her dad. Hu Baiyi regards this wish and leaves the desert with his team on the camels, prepared to continue to look while a huge beast watches them from a far distance. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.